Gonna start this video. Okay, let me just do an intro. Okay, hello you guys. I was about to start this video acting all like, oh my gosh, hi, this and that, and then I just had to. I knew I should not have done it, but I did it anyways. And I checked my fucking grades for this one class. I told you guys about it. It's a senior thesis class, and it's like legit one of the worst classes I've taken. And it's not because it's like a difficult class by any means. Like I feel like if it was taught. Let me like try to screen my screen. But like I feel like if it was taught by like legit anybody else, it would be so much more comprehensive and understandable. But like the way this professor is teaching it in particular, and it sucks because this is like the only professor and like the only class that is like, being taught this semester. It just infuriates me, and it's like one of those like required classes for me to graduate, and I'm just not in the greatest mood. Everyone I've talked to in that class as well like dislikes that class with the amount of like, I don't know what the fuck is going on in like that class, but every time I even like look at my grade in that class, I get fucking pissed off, and it just pisses me off just thinking about it. But anyways, I was gonna come on this video, and I was kind of inspired by the last thing I was talking about, which was about writing fan fictions and stuff. I was thinking about it, right? I was like, I kind of realized I never really addressed like the fandoms that I was in, because I feel like I've talked about like, like previously being interested in like I don't know. I don't remember what I said last video. I feel like every time I film a video, it's just like I do it and then it just gets flashbanged out of my fucking head. So if I ever repeat anything, don't come for me. I just forget. I do a lot of these, and I just kind of just talk, and like I forget what is important and what isn't, or whatever the fuck. But anyways, I actually wanted to come on here and talk a little, well, I don't know if it's going to be a little bit because knowing me, but I wanted to talk about my phase as a directioner because I guess this is something that was like it was a massive part of my life for like a bit, like for a really long time. But like it was like one of those fandoms that it was massive for me. Like, have you guys, I feel like if anyone has ever been on the internet, you guys have probably been in like a fandom that was like integral to your development as a person, as an artist, as a musician, or whatever the fuck, or like whoever, as a person. And for me, One Direction definitely was one of those like those watershed moment. It was like a big like integral thing that literally like changed the course of my life. And the other fandom I feel like was Hetalia and Homestuck was like the first fandoms that really molded me into who I am as a person. And then I moved on to Supernatural and like Supernatural and the other fandom, and like Teen Wolf and stuff. I that was like one of my like second, maybe no, I feel like Teen Wolf was like around the One Direction time, so I'm not gonna, but like Supernatural around that time. And then I feel like there was like an anime fandom, but I'm just like lacking on it. I feel like there was one in there that I don't know. The only ones I can remember at the top of my head currently is that like so yeah. So Hetalia, Homestuck. I might talk about that. I had a Hetalia revival. I had a revival phase like way back in like junior high, but I was like in deep back in like middle school and whatnot like that. And so yeah, so those were my first few, and then I got into Supernatural, and then I think that was the time where I was like, oh, in my like pick me phase, where I was like, oh, fuck One Direction, fuck this, and then all that. And then so I got into One Direction around 2016, and this is like a really like poignant like date for me, because it was like that was when they disbanded. That was when the entire band like just broke up and was like, oh, we're just taking hiatus. We'll come back and this and that. And that was like, why the fuck did I join the fandom so late in the fucking game, right? Because it was like, I don't know. But anyways, and I don't remember what fandom was after that. I feel like that was when I stopped. I feel like once my One Direction phase just kind of phased out, I didn't have like a major fandom for a bit. Like I was kind of in and out, but like usually I'm like the type of person like that likes to be in a fan. Oh, I remember now. I was in a Rick and Morty fandom for a little bit after that. Yeah, I was in a Rick and Morty phase after that, and then I think I might have gone. I think Rick and Morty and South Park were like two of the big things around that time. And then I think I got back into anime, so I was like, it was like My Hero and Mob Psycho and stuff like that. And then after that, I just have not been in a fandom. Like I'll like occasionally like pop into like a show I'm watching and be like, oh wow, this is pretty cool and stuff like that. But I don't like start going on Tumblr. I don't like read fan fiction about it. I don't like make fan art, stuff like that. I just watch shows now and just kind of just take it at its forefront. I don't really do research into it. But like at the same time, I do want to get into a fandom. I mean, not like to the point where I'm like I become obsessed with the person, I become obsessed with their lives. I'm like following fan accounts and stuff like that, because I think that's where I kind of draw the line. I don't really want to get so involved to the point where it becomes like an obsession and like becomes like overly toxic, because I was let me just say, the directioner phase really defined who I don't want to be. Okay, so I don't remember how I got into One Direction. I think I listened. I think I had like Spotify, just the general Spotify. I didn't have premium at the time, so I just went through like the playlist and stuff. I can like skip, and I think I remember watching. I don't remember if I was watching or listening to. I think I might have been watching, but I think I was watching. I don't know where the Spotify came from, but anyways, I think I was watching one of One Direction's music videos, and I think it was the You and I. I think it was. I don't remember if it was You and I, if I was listening to it or if I was watching it, but I remember just Zayn's high note and You and I, when You and I, oh, like it was life changing. I have him up on my wall as well. He is one of the only band members that I have like any interest, not interest, but like any like I like their music, but like for me, Zayn's music kind of is like more catered to my taste. I really like Mind of Mine. That's why I have it up there. It's like he has like amazing fucking bangers on there. I listened to, I don't remember what it was called, like something Fall, like the one with the angel wings. I don't remember what it was, but some bangers are on there. Okay, so y'all give it a listen. And from what I'm hearing around the internet, he's making a little comeback. And I don't know, there's been some things about him being like a problematic person, but like who isn't problematic on the fucking internet? Like I feel like everybody like on God's green earth is like has like some type of scandal about them. Like it's not like, oh my god, like he beat up a homeless person type of like scandal, but like just some like, oh, like I heard he was a bitch on set or something like that. But it's like, who gives a rat's ass? Like I don't really give it, like I'm never going to interact with these people in real life, and it's not like I'm like, like worshiping their feet. Like I'm not like fucking licking their feet every single fucking day, so I don't really care about what they do, like I'll listen to their music and I'll appreciate them as an artist, and occasionally I'll be like, haha, I think they're funny as a person, but like that's not because I'm endorsing them or like believing that they're like, oh my god, like they're my idol, this and that, right? The only person I consider my idol is like Claire Saffitz. Claire Saffitz is probably one of my like idols, I suppose. Like I look up to her as like someone who likes baking and stuff, but like I don't like, like I don't stalk her. Like I barely even like, I watch her videos and that's it. I don't look outside on the interwebs or whatever. I don't like go on her Instagram, like stalk her, and I don't like go on Twitter and be like blah 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 this and that, right? I just watch her shit and I'm like, wow, she's so inspiring as a person. I love the way she treats this and that, right? And so that's where the boundaries are for me. But like back then there were no fucking boundaries, okay? Because yeah, so the high note in You and I converted me. I don't know what it was, but it converted the fuck out of me. The second Zayn hit that fucking high note, like just something within me just snapped. Because before then, I was one of those pick me girls, because I was into like Italian, like Homestuck and stuff like that. And so it's like, oh, I'm not like other girls. Like I like this cringy like anime stuff, and like I like this really obscure stuff compared to like what these normies are listening to. And so at the time, like back when they were like bussin', right? I think it was like 4th grade or like 5th grade for me at the time. That was when they were up on the walls. They were fucking, they were ducking, they were doing tours. They were like, I think that was, I don't remember. I think 4th grade for me was like 2012, 11ish. That was, I don't remember when the Cup song came out, but that was when I was in 4th grade. It was during the Cup song. And so I remember like vividly, like one of my friends was like a die-hard Directioner, and I was friends with her obviously, but at the same time I like judged her for it. But like at the same time it's like, but like I judged her so hardcore for it. Every time I would see something on the internet about One Direction, I'm like, ew, fuck these gay little motherfuckers. Like I hate these little twinks on stage and this and that. Like they're so stupid. Like who on earth? Like why would you even like them and this and that? Like they're like, you're wasting your time. But there's so many more people out there that you could idolize and stuff like that. And I think that at the time, and this is why I'm like, I don't really like, I don't understand. Oh wait, let me try to phrase this correctly. Like I'm not sympathetic to pick me girls. I'm like, I'm not sympathetic, but like I understand where they're coming from, right? I don't care about their emotions. I don't care about that. I don't care about like where they are as a person or whatever, but like I understand where they're coming from. And that's the only like common ground that I have with like pick me girls is like I understand where they're coming from, but like I don't reciprocate those actions. I don't endorse those actions. I don't believe that they should be doing the things they're doing or saying the shit that they're saying. But like I understand where they're coming from. Like it gives you like this like euphoric, like not euphoric, but it gives you like this like ego boost, almost like, oh, like I'm more special than you because I like something that's more obscure and I have better interest than you. Like I like Hetalia, which is like, you know, this really obscure anime and it's like super like based and stuff like that. But like you like One Direction, they're like going on tour, they're like the most popular band on earth, and you like the most popular thing, like you can't think for yourself, stuff like that, you know. Like it really gives you like this ego boost. Like it makes you feel like such like a unique person for liking something that is not, you know, popular. And obviously like people grow out of this at like a fairly young like age. Like I feel like I grew out of this like by the time I got into my One Direction phase. I grew out of that. I was like, okay, like I you know what, fuck, I love mainstream trends. I like it when I like popular things, and it's okay to like popular things because there's a reason why they're popular, because it's well liked and it's generally good. And so but like for me now personally, like I don't really follow trends when it comes to like consumerism. Like I'm not really into that like Stanley trend unless someone gives it to me for free, you know. But I'm not gonna spend my own money to get it, if you catch my drift. And same with like skincare and stuff, like and like fragrances. Like I obviously get influenced by people, but like at the same time I understand like I'm old enough to like make my own decisions and understand like what trends I want to follow and what trends I don't want to follow. But I think back then I was really conscious about the trends. I was really aware of the trends basically, and I knew that like I did not want to follow the trends. And so when I would like, you know, see stuff about One Direction, I feel like there was a part within me that wanted to like wants to like One Direction, but there was another part of me that wanted to be unique. And so I wasn't not I like literally forced myself not to like One Direction. But I feel like back then I definitely did kind of have the hots for Niall. Like I think like what, like 8-year-old me kind of had it going on with Niall, but like I just didn't want to say anything. Oh my gosh, like I was in denial. Okay. But anyways. um but anyways, yeah, I remember just like going on, like I was like on iFunny, right? If you guys remember iFunny, it's wicked. But like they would always make fun of One Direction on there. It's like, oh, who are these little gay motherfuckers? Like yada yada, this and that. I don't remember what the fuck was going on. Like if you guys just look up like memes of like One Direction in 2012, you just find like all this homophobic and really kind of weird stuff going around. And I was one of those people that called them gay and called them weird and called them cringe and stuff like that. But like I think that at the time, I'm not trying to justify that, because I mean, how do you even justify like a irrational 8-year-olds like manifestations? Like I don't know how to rationalize it, but basically I think one of the main reasons why I was like so I don't know, I think one of the main reasons why I was like so like disgusted disgusted and just like averse to trends was because I was like ostracized by majority of the people that participated in this trend. So a lot of like the popular kids, a lot of the people that had a lot more wealth and a lot more resources than me were able to afford stuff that One Direction was putting out. Like I couldn't even afford like McDonald's when I was younger. I couldn't afford to like eat at like Taco Bell and stuff. Like for me, Taco Bell was like luxury, like peak luxury. Like the idea of even going to like an Olive Garden was like peak luxury. Like it had to literally be like someone's like golden birthday or something to be able to go there. Like it can't be a normal birthday, like because normal birthdays you spend at home. Like if it's like a golden birthday, you get to go out and go to the restaurant and stuff like that. And so for me, coming from like an impoverished household, and then same with like being like ostracized, because I didn't fit into like the what's it called, the normal kid vibes. I don't know, I just didn't fit in with the kids. Okay, whatever the fuck, I just looked different and I spoke different and I just acted different, and so I wasn't accepted within the groups or whatever. And so I felt like this need to like become more unique, because I was like, oh, so you don't like me because I'm different? Like why don't I just go into that difference and become more different? And so I have a reason, and so it becomes more justified as to why I'm being ostracized, because I didn't understand why I was so different. I mean, I did, but at the same time, when you're surrounded by white kids all the fucking time, it kind of makes you feel as if you're a white kid, because you're surrounded by people that like just look the same, and just not look the same, but they look a certain way. And so it's like you could look into the mirror all you want, but like when you're surrounded by these people, you kind of become like indoctrinated, not indoctrinated, but like I can't think of the word, but like kind of like become like influenced. And so for the longest time, I didn't think of myself as Asian. I just thought of myself as, you know, Quinn. And Quinn was an American, and she was a Minnesotan. She wasn't Asian, she wasn't Vietnamese, she's just a Minnesotan, like this and that. And so for the longest time, I think that was one of the main reasons why I just wanted to be like this unique person, because I couldn't control the fact that I was Asian. I couldn't control the fact that I was ugly. I mean, I could, but I was 8 years old with like low income, you know, and I couldn't control like the amount of income that was coming in. And so I kind of took that matter into my own hand and was like, oh man, like maybe I can control like the interest that I have, because that was the only thing that I could like feasibly control. I could control the things that I liked, the things that I didn't like, and stuff like that. And so I think one of the main like selling points of like liking stuff like Hetalia and Homestuck was not because mainly it was because I mean I was attracted to stuff. I found the characters hot and stuff like that, but like also at the same time it was like something that was like, you know, not uncommon, but like underground, like something that was like very, you know, not very popular, like popular on the internet, like to like internet people, like weirdos like me, but like to like normal people who were like into One Direction, that was something that they were not, you know, aware of. And so I think that was one of the things that like I was like really kind of like taking in, because I was like, well, if I'm already weird, if I'm already like being ostracized for the way that I look and the way that I speak and stuff like that, like why don't I just like fucking full send it and just be fucking weird within everything that I do, you know? And so that was how I basically lived up until like, but well, not now. I feel like I'm kind of basic now. I kind of do, not basic, but like I just don't think like that anymore. But like definitely back then I definitely thought like that. Like I just like deep dived into the weirdest caves of the internet, and I was just get into these weird fandoms, and I just wanted to make myself as unique as possible so that like my uniqueness would kind of overcome like my shortcomings that I was unable to change, basically. And that's why I don't want to say I like sympathize, by the way. I don't want to say I sympathize with them, because I don't really care for them, honestly. But I do understand them. I like pick me girls of when they're like, oh, like this and that. Like I think it comes down to insecurity, and I don't want to like that's not a diss. It's not a diss, okay? But like it definitely comes down to insecurity, because there has to be something within you that's like hurting, that's like empty for you to like kind of come out here and say all these things, you know? Because a confident person doesn't feel the need to put down others, because they know what they are, they know like what they can do, and they know everything about themselves, and they know their limits. And so there's no point in saying and in like, you know, there's no point in having to like prove themselves to the world. There's no point in like having to like gain all this attention. There's no point in like doing whatever the fuck, because confident people just know what they want, and what they want is what they want, and what they do is what they do, you know? And what like insecure people always are like looking for like validation, always looking for attention, and that's coming from someone who's very, very insecure. I am a deeply, deeply insecure person, and I'm always aware of like what people think of me and stuff like that. And that's why I can understand where these motherfucking pick-me's are coming from. I'm always aware of like how people like perceive me, and how like just everything that I do is perceived, you know? And so yeah, that's my little rant on that, but I'll get back to the One Direction stuff real quick. But anyways, yeah, so I got into One Direction, and then I don't remember how it happened, but it was definitely in 2016. So what was that, like junior high? I remember like sitting in the computer lab at school, instead of like doing like, what was it? I think it was called like, it was like PLTW or something. It was like a coding class. I don't know. It was like, I don't remember what it was, but it was like, I think it was like a wood building class or something. I don't remember. But basically what you did in that class was you just like went on the internet and like, oh, I remember. It was definitely PLTW, and we were doing a little bit of like coding, and we were like learning how to like code circuits or something. I don't remember what the fuck it was, but instead of like doing that, I was just on Tumblr looking at pictures of Liam Payne. It feels so weird saying that like now that I know the things that he's said. But back then he was like, okay, so basically if you guys were not in the fandom, I'll give you guys a quick rundown, right? So basically Liam was considered like the daddy of the group, like he was the father, because I think he just had that energy about him. I don't remember if he was the oldest. I think Louis was the oldest, right? Louis was the oldest, but Liam just kind of had that like fatherly energy about him, and so a lot of people considered him like the father of the group. And I don't want to admit this, but like a lot of people in the fandom thought that he had a really big wiener. I don't know what that was all about, but like in all the fan fictions that I've ever read about him, he always had the biggest fucking wiener. And it was like, now that I think about it, like he did not have a big wiener. Like the way that he acts, the way that he is, just indicates to me that he does not have anything to show for it. Anyways, but yeah, so he was the guy with the big wiener, and don't remember what other. Yeah, he was just like the responsible one, and he was generally just the one that was like. I mean, I guess you can say he was like the responsible leader, but the leader, I think, or like the visual in like K-pop terms, was definitely Harry. He was like the most popular one, and I think Harry was kind of like, the most popular guy. The kind of charming, I don't like just charming dude. I don't know, and it was really obvious. Like he was like kind of like the not the heart, but like he was kind of like the main selling point of the group. He was like the big name of the group. Like, oh, Harry Styles from One Direction. Like, wow, that's Harry Styles from One Direction, and One Direction is Harry Styles, and then the rest of the dudes come following. Because that was basically all I knew. Like, I think that Liam and I okay, you guys know this, but I have like an issue with like identifying faces. So for the longest time, like Liam and Louis were like the same person to me. They look so different, but they were the same person to me, and that like applies to like every single other like boy group or like group I've ever like been in. I just have a really hard time distinguishing faces, and I don't know why it is, but like for the longest time I always got Louis and Liam mixed up. I don't know if that's me being racist to white people or what, but like goddamn, they were so indistinguishable. Oh my gosh, so similar, so identical that I could not tell them apart. Oh my gosh, indistinguishable. There we go. I had to like pronounce the syllables or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, Harry was like the front man, the main man. If you knew of Harry Styles, you knew One Direction. If you knew of One Direction, you knew of Harry Styles, and he was the it boy back then, and he's the it boy now. I'll admit it. I was not a Harry girl. I was a Niall. I was a Niall girly through and through. It was because he's blonde, and I could tell them apart. But like there was just something about him that I really liked at the time. I think it was just like he just was so, I don't know, there was something about him that was so unique to me. And I said, I like uniqueness. So I had to go for the blonde boy, the only blonde boy that was in the group. But like I think I just really liked the way he sang. He just has like this like kind of really kind of like soft, I don't know, his voice is like very distinguishable. Oh my god, I can't say the word. His voice is like very distinct to me. Whenever I listen to a One Direction song, I like know it's Niall. Because back then, all the songs, I just thought it was sang by one person. Because I was like, it just sounds the same to me. But like the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, oh, that's Zayn, that's Niall, that's Louis, blah, blah, blah. But like every time I would hear Niall's voice, I would just be like, wow. Wow. Gagged. Oh my gosh. But yeah. So Niall was considered just like the Irish person of the group. I think I don't remember, a lot of the people in the fandom kind of saw him as like a baby almost, I think, and I definitely treated him as a baby, even though he was like 10 years older than me. I was like, oh my god, that is total baby right there. Like he was like the soft boy. He was just kind of like, yeah, he was just an Irish boy, a soft boy, kind of like, the boy that you meet at, oh yeah, and Liam was considered like, the neighbor boy. Like he was like the boy that like you would bring home to your parents. And then Niall, I feel like was just kind of like a younger brother. He had like a younger brother energy. And then with like Louis and Zayn were like this. Okay, they were like this. They were like the jokesters of the group basically. But they weren't like this, like apparently with like Harry and Louis. Okay, they weren't like this, but they were like this. They were homies. Okay, and so. I think Zayn was considered like the bad boy of the group because he had got into some scandals about like smoking pot or some shit, and I think it's because, okay, I don't want to say allegedly. I'm gonna say this is allegedly, okay, because I don't want to like put it out there, but I think he was considered the bad boy because he was the only minority in the group. He was the only one that had melanin in there, and people just assumed that within his skin, within whatever the fuck he is, they just assumed that he just had this like rough background and stuff like that, and he's just a rough, tough, tumble type of guy. But like, I don't know, I don't want to say it, but just kidding. I don't know, I'm just joking around, but like, but yeah, so Zayn was considered like the bad boy, and what else, like, he's perceived as? Yeah, he's just like a sad boy, but he's a very like kind of quiet boy as well. But he has his like little crazy moments as well. And I think Louis is considered like the crazy jokester type of dude. And I think he's like definitely my second favorite person in the group. It goes Niall, Louis, Zayn, and then Harry and like Liam are like tied for me because I don't really care for them, honestly. Like even when Harry Styles like went off into his like own independent work, it was just like I listened to his stuff, but I was just like, I'm just listening to this because I'm a directioner. I actually don't like his music a lot. Like I just listen to it. Like his first album, I'll give him that. Like his self-titled album was really good. I like that one. But then afterwards, I just fell off. He fell off for me. And then with Niall though, his music was banging. Okay, it was banging. I loved it. Like for me, I never considered myself as someone who enjoyed that type of music because it's very kind of like folky. It's like it kind of has a little like folk moment to it, a little twang to it, and I never thought I would like that. But like the more I listened to it, I was like, wow, like he was cooking. Okay, he was cooking. And Louis' music, don't get me started. Okay, when he had that fucking collaboration with Steve Aoki or whatever his name was, I was like, and when he collaborated with BB Rexa, I was like, yeah, this man is for the girls. This man is for the girls and for the girls only. Like his music was definitely my like type. Like his voice, like I think the ranking of like the voices definitely has to go with Zayn on top because Zayn has insane vocals, and then it goes Niall, and then it goes Louis, and then I might get some hairy girls heated about this, but like that's just my opinion. Okay, this is my opinion. I'm not saying this to be unique. It's just my opinion. Okay, like whenever I listen to Harry's music, I'm like, this is good stuff, but like, just ain't for me, and that's okay. That's okay. If you guys don't rock with his music, that's okay. If you rock with his music, that's okay too. But Liam's music, I mean, Strip That Down was okay. But the rest of it, I just don't listen to it because I'm like, just like, you're just a tryhard. Like, honestly, you're a fucking tryhard. And so I don't listen to much of Liam's music, I'll be honest. I don't know if he has anything else out other than Strip That Down. I can't confirm or deny, but yeah. But anyways, but yeah. And then, so yeah. So Louis was like the trickster, the jokester. He was just kind of fucking around, dicking around all the time. And I think he was considered like kind of the fruitier one. I don't know. I think he was considered like the fruitcake of the group, which is kind of funny considering he's like a fucking kid and everything. But yeah, I was a Nile girl through and through, and I'm just gonna say this out here. I definitely shipped all of them. I my biggest ship at the time was definitely Neri. This is so embarrassing saying it out loud, but I was a Niall and Harry shipper like for the biggest time, and then I somehow like I just transitioned over to Zyle, and Zyle was the it girl for me. Like it was the it girl for me. Like everything about Zyle just hit so deliciously. I don't even want to talk about it because it makes me seem like demented, but like I made fan art for Zyle. I would write like fan fiction. Like I remember I wrote this fan fiction where, what was it? Like it was like the typical like AU of like Niall being like, you know, the florist or whatever, and like Zayn was like the tattooist. Like you know what I'm talking about, like the tattoo and florist like AU. Yeah. And it was like, oh, now it's like ooh, soft boy, and he was like roommates with Michael Clifford. Like, what am I supposed to say to that? Like, I don't. Anyways, but yeah, Zyle was definitely the it girl for me, but like Neri was a close second, and then I think I might have shipped. I definitely did ship like Niall and Louis, but it was kind of like more kind of like a just cause I wanted to ship Niall with somebody, and Louis was like a close second, and then not second, third, and then. Yeah, I definitely think I did ship like Niall. Was it Neum? But like not too much. Like I read fan fiction about it, but I like wasn't like too into them. But yeah, Zyle and Neri was where it was at. Like I would watch like those like compilation videos on the internet on YouTube where they would like compile all these like footage of like Niall and Harry interacting and do all these like cute little edits to them. Like I was demented. I was severely demented, and I'm coming to you guys as a woman, admitting this, and I think that you guys should forgive me for what I've done. But yeah, I remember like just watching their interviews and I remember this is how poor I was. I was not able to watch the best movie ever, which was like the One Direction documentary. I was so poor, I couldn't afford it, but like I would like try to pirate it, and there was no way, so I would just watch like clips of it online. Like I was that poor, folks. Like I just And even to this day, I haven't watched the full thing. How can I call myself a Directioner? But whatever. And my friends, they've supported that delusion. They would buy me like all this One Direction merch. Like my friend bought me like a Zayn book. For like Christmas. I was like, oh my gosh. And it was a book that I wanted to. Oh my gosh. It's in the thing with Barbara over there. But then what else? I had like a Niall shirt that said like Crazy Mofo on it. And then I also have another Niall shirt, but I think my dad has that currently. I like put it away because I was embarrassed by it. But then I think my dad like has a shirt. Oh my gosh, he wears my blue neighborhood shirt around sometimes, my Troye Sivan. He wears it around sometimes. And I'm like, he's really a girl. Like that is a girl. Like you are a girl. But yeah, sometimes I'll catch him wearing it and I'm like, yeah. But anyways, yeah, and then I would watch it with like Niall and like Zayn as well. Like I think Niall and Zayn were definitely like my favorites because they were like kind of like the underdogs a little bit, you know. And I just love me an underdog story. And I will also admit this, and I don't want to get you Larry stans like fucking offended, but I was just not into Larry, and I mean, there's some evidence out there that I'm kind of like, but otherwise, back then I hated Larry so fucking badly. I don't know what it was, but I just hated it. I think it was like another symptom of me being like, oh, I'm into this popular thing, but I don't ship this popular shit because it's so popular. But I think it was because it just was so like popular within the fandom that I just got annoyed because it like squished everything else that was in the fandom. I'm like, okay, I get it. Larry's cute or whatever the fuck, but like I don't like. Can we give like Niall some love? Can we give Zayn some love? Like, can we give the other members some love? Because right now you guys are just like dogpiling on this, and it was just. And like the Larry stands were fucking bonkers. Like out of all of like the members out of all the fans within that fandom, the Larry fans, if you guys were in the fandom, know how fucking insane they were, bro. They were fucking demented. And I don't know. Like I even like blocked. I like blacklisted the word. I blocked like Larry on like all of my social media because I was just like. I just don't ship this. Like, you guys are fucking weird. And it's just, like, it annoyed me every time I came onto a post. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, get over it. Like, Louis wants to fuck you, this and that. I don't know. It was, like, if I were to interview younger me, I think she would have been like, fuck Larry. Fuck Larry. Fuck everyone. The only one that I want is Noel. And so, yeah. Yeah, it was a really crazy world. I was on Tumblr. I ran like a Tumblr page for them. I was on Twitter. I don't have this like user anymore, but originally I had a Twitter page called Niall Ride That D. Let's give that a moment. And I had an account called Nary Berries, and that's a lot. Yeah. And then like the only things I would do on like my Twitter, which is fangirl. I think that if you were to go on my Twitter now, I like tried to delete all my old tweets, but that's just not working. I don't know what the fucking issue is. Like I'm trying to delete all of them, but it's not working. And so you can probably find some of my older tweets where I'm like, oh my god, Liam, I love your abs. Oh my god, Niall, you're so hot. Oh my gosh, like, look, Liam and Niall are interacting. Oh my god, daddy, and stuff like that. And I just want you guys to forgive me for the things that I have said, the things that I have done, because that is not me. That is not who I am as a person. That's not who I will ever be. But I was it for a long time, okay? And that's what I mean by like when I miss a fandom. I don't miss being like delusional. I just miss being like so excited about something. I miss like getting a notification like Niall tweeted something so mundane, like, oh, I'm in Dublin. I'm like, oh my god, daddy's in Dublin, this and that. Like it was freaky deaky, bro. And I remember so distinctly when Harry's stepfather Robin died. I like made a post about it on my spam, on my Finsta. and every one of my comments were like, "Oh, who's Robin? Who's Robin?" I'm like, "Oh my god, it was Harry. It was Harry Styles' stepfather. Like this and that." Like I wrote like a whole paragraph being like, "Oh, like I'm so sad. I hope like Harry, you and your family like get some peace over this and get like some blah 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 this and that." And it was delusional. Like it was like, who is going to see that except for my 3 followers on my Finsta? Like it was demented. But you know what? I had the right intentions. I was wishing them well, but fuck, man, that was definitely a moment in time for real. And I remember Niall was going to come to the state of Minnesota on this the state fair at Minnesota, and he was going to be one of the performers. And I wanted to go so badly, but I couldn't afford it because I was broke. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I guess looking back on it, I think I was just like really mad at the time because I was too broke to afford all these like One Directioner things, and I think that in 2016 and 17 especially, like they were already done and done with. Like, they were done and dusted, and I couldn't get like any merch for them. And anytime I tried to search up any merch for them, it's just like I had to pay like fucking an arm and a leg just to get like a fucking like, I don't know, lunchbox or something. And so I think I was really mad about that. So I had a lot of like regrets about like joining the fandom so late in the game, but I don't think my ego would have let me at the time. And so I think that, yeah, I think my Directioner phase really kind of helped me like understand like, oh, this is not okay, because I was like delusional. Like I wasn't like stalking them or anything, but I feel guilty about the fact that I was like, you know, shipping real life people, because that's weird, okay? Because that's weird. And I was like drawing all this fan art of them. I was writing fan fiction about them fucking, and it's just really strange to think about it now, because I mean, it might be normal for people who like dwell on the internet 24/7. It becomes like desensitized to the concept of like, you know, like shipping real life people and like putting, I don't know. And so, but like when you like come out of that and you look back on it, you're like, oh wow, that's fucking weird. Like that's so strange. Like you guys are sick. You know, like I remember like being in the fandom. I remember just like looking back at like what the old fandom people did when I was in the fandom. Like I was like, you guys dox their hospital. You like I don't like, how do direction, how, oh my god, I'm like so flabbergasted. But like, how did you guys like find out their like medical records? Like how did you guys like find out they were in this like hotel and they were doing this and that? How did you guys hack the security cameras? And it's just like sheesh. I just don't understand it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna log off now because I think I'm becoming like airheaded. I'm like becoming delusional or whatever the fuck. If I think of anything else, I'll add on to it. But for now, I think that's all I gotta say on that. All right, that's all I gotta say. All right, kisses. I cannot believe I literally forgot. I was just watching the video back and I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I missed so much because I was spending all that time in the beginning talking about like bogus. And so I missed a lot of the stuff that was like pretty integral in the fandom. But like I have been thinking about, what's that one? It's like the animation one. It's like Saving One Direction, or like what was it, like One Direction? It's like the animation. It's like where they like it's like Cheerios or tacos. Oh my god, what is it called? I don't remember what it's called, but it was like an animation that was made by this one dude, and it was like the funniest fucking thing. I remember watching the Christmas special on Christmas, and I just, oh my gosh, like just thinking back on it, like I wanna save ya, and it's like spoons. Oh my gosh. And then like Harry's cat, Olivia. Like I fucking love that series. And I was literally just thinking about this like while I was cooking. I don't know where it came from, but I was like, I wonder what that guy is doing now, because that would be such like a funny fucking thing to put in your resume. Like, can you imagine like being like putting on your resume like, oh, I was able to create this like animation online on YouTube and amass like millions of fucking views and stuff like that. Like I feel like he would, I just feel it within my soul that he's probably out there making some like behind the scenes working on like somewhere in like Cartoon Network or like some like animation studio, because his talents are not to be wasted, because he should not be trifled with. He is, the moment he was and he is killing it, because I cannot believe that was a one-man show. It baffles me, and every time I watch it, it's just like, it just makes me so happy. Like it's just a really weird time, but like just something about it is so good. You guys have to watch it if you guys don't know what it is. Just search up like One Direction animation. I wish okay, let me just search it up for you guys right now. Give me 1 second. It was called The Adventures of One Direction. And it was the best fucking thing on the internet, and I can stand by that 100% okay? Well, it's not the best thing, but like it's one of the best things on the internet. It's so fucking good. Like I cannot believe I forgot it, and I cannot believe I was just thinking about it like legit like 2 hours ago. Like I don't know why it just came into my brain, but I was like, I wonder what he's up to. I hope he's like having such a good time within the industry of like illustration, whatever the fuck he was doing. But like, wow, like so good, so good. And then I remember, do you guys remember the One Direction perfume? Because I do, and I have it. Okay, I have the One Direction perfume. It's chilling in my drawer right now. I've tried it on, and it's just not for me. It's a little bit too floral. It's just not me. But I remember watching the commercial for it, and oh my gosh, like I had, hold on. No, not hold on. I was gonna do a screen share, but then that is way too much fucking work. But I just think about Niall. What the fuck was that? Do you guys hear that? The fuck was that? Anyways, but I oh my gosh. And I just loved watching the behind the scenes. I think I watched the behind the scenes before I watched the actual commercial. But like I just think about the commercial like not every single day, but like every now and then. I'm like, I always think of that like spy scene, like when someone's up in the mountains, or like, oh my god, or like someone's in space. Oh my gosh, like I just love seeing stuff behind the scenes and stuff like that. It's so cool. And let me see. Oh yeah, and then I bought the perfume like legit like couple years after release. I think I like bought it on like Black Friday in like 2016 or 17, and I was like, wow, this is still out and this and that. And then I tried wearing it, but like I said, I'm just not into floral scent, and it's like pretty heavily floral. Like it's sweet, but it's floral, and I'm just like, I think I just like, it's not a bad scent, it's just not something I'd personally wear. It just feels a little bit too like not autopsy, like grandma-ish, you know. And so yeah, I'm just trying to think. I think that's like all I can like think up on the top of my head. There was like something called like, I think there was like these like little compilations of like edits that people would do, but I can't remember what they're called. They're not called like man nips, but you guys probably know what that is. Like manipulation, man nips. They're just like photoshopped images of like the boys on like different boys' bodies and stuff, which is like whatever the fuck. There was also like ooh, my friend wrote them, but I can't remember what they're named. Like splurbs? Not splurbs. Like blurbs? Moments? Oh, I can't remember what they are on the top of my head, but they're like little like fan fictions. They're like, oh, like imagine you're like going on a walk with Harry Styles or something, or like these little like fan fictions. They weren't fan fiction, but they're like imagines, but they're not imagines. But I can't remember what they are on the top of my head. Sheesh, I can't remember. Sorry, guys. And then what else did I watch on YouTube? Yeah, I always watch like, oh, funny One Direction moments, or like funny moments on stage. And I remember like them like performing stuff on stage. I remember like I would remember like all the alternative lyrics the boys would give to them, because you know they would get bored and stuff. And oh my god, the chance meme. We had a chance. What else? I think that's like all I can remember on the top of my head. I just wanted to come on here and just do a little bit of, yeah, I just remember that. But yeah, that's all I gotta add. All right, back to the other video. Sorry.